Hey, what's up? What's up? This your man Orville J. Parker, aka Coach Guys. Welcome to today's episode of the show. Now, you guys know, right? You know that my whole goal is to start back to creating content on a day-by-day basis. Um, and if you are a first-time viewer, I want to thank you all first of all for stopping by, checking out the stream. If you are a loyal viewer, I want to thank you for stopping by and rocking with your guy. Um, Now, I'm gonna give you guys a forewarning. In this stream, I'm actually testing out different software and different things that we're working on. I got to clean my office up, man. If you guys were to see, it's not bad, but it's not the way that I want it. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. So first time viewers, thanks for stopping by. If you are a regular viewer, thanks for stopping by. Okay, oh man, I got a lot. That's why I'm very happy that I have the opportunity to be able to come to you guys on the platforms like I'm doing. Um, when you think about the world that we live in today, man, and the access that we have to tools and resources, we live in a world, man, to where when you really sit back and look at it, you have to come to the conclusion that we are what we think and what we do. We are in total control of what our reality looks like. Because, this is the first time I believe in history that you don't have any excuses, man. You don't have to go out and do what you don't want to do. You don't have to live how you don't want to live. You don't have to be who you don't want to be. We have the resources and the tools out here now for anybody to make a radical change in their life, man, to make a shift in their lives. But I was sitting here thinking, man, I got up this morning, I couldn't sleep. So I jumped out the bed, right? And I always do that because when I can't sleep like that, either it's something on my mind or I believe that it's an opportunity for what I like to call a download. And that's where, like, in these spaces in my day, it uses in the morning where I'm very receptive and creative. It's like I start downloading a lot of information, aha moments. It could be solutions to problems I've been dealing with. It could be direction on things that I've been dealing with. And I've learned to jump up and come in here in the office, man, and try to figure out what it is. All right. And try to figure out what it is. And today, man, it was crazy because I didn't go to bed super late, but I went to bed late, right? And I slept for about 4 hours. And then I roll over, still sleepy and tired, but mind wakes up, right? And so I sat there and I said, okay, well, look, I'll scroll on my phone a little bit, then go back to sleep. Because I'm never one that could just roll back over and go to sleep unless I'm super tired. But I did that for a few minutes. I said, let me get on up and come on here inside the office. And I came in here, man. I'm glad I did. I started a brainstorm session with Vic, which is my AI, and and I was talking to him. I was talking to him about I was listening. I was listening to a guy on TikTok. That's what it was. I was listening to a guy on TikTok. He was running a group chat, a voice chat on TikTok, and he was teaching about what he called like codes. There were money codes, abundance codes. I had never heard anything on this particular. I read a lot on manifestation and just the law of attractions, frequencies, things like that. Um, but he was talking on these money codes that I had never heard about. And so I listened to him for a while, and on your iPhones now you can record. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll record his live, and then I'll go do some research on it. But anyway, to make a long story short, I had just came in the office. I was listening, and I said, let me go ahead and ask Vic about this. And so I jumped on Chat GPT, And I started asking Vic, what are money codes? And he started breaking it down and explaining to me, you know, codes as far as words that trigger certain things. And then he also broke down to me codes as far as numbers. And this is usually spiritual and metaphysical. All right. And man, it turned into a very good session where he was teaching me some things. I was asking some questions and stuff. And then that led me to start talking to him about how I felt that a lot of things over the last year and a half, I felt like were different pieces to the puzzle that I was downloading, right? And I told him that here recently, I just had a crazy breakthrough dealing with my last project that I was working on, and that was working on putting together the small agency Avatar Pop, where we create avatars, which is a digital representation of a person, right? And in this process, I was learning how to create the avatars. I was testing out different software, and I was going through this learning curve very, very fast. I sat down, and I lose count to go back and look at it. I think we're probably about a month into it now. But I sat down and was just, that's how I do. I have the beauty of the ability of it because I'm not plugged into what I like to call the matrix, which is the traditional system. I'm self-employed. I'm out here as an entrepreneur, manifesting and building according to my own accords, and so I don't have to worry about going to a 9 to 5. I get to create my schedule, and so at times, man, I say, okay, well, look, I'm just going to lock in. I'm just going to sit down, and I'm going to take a week, 3 days, 5 days, and I'm just going to dive deep into this and just learn this. And in this case, it's all about acquiring a skill set, right? Because I understand the concept of what I'm doing with the animations because as a hobby, I used to cartoon, right? But learning AI and how AI connects to this in this manner and what I could use AI to do with this, and then starting to learn that whole process, which was very, very powerful. But what it did was it was crazy because as I started creating these animations, I started seeing how these was alternative ways of looking at the person, all right, these avatars. But then I started seeing how when I say we, me and Vic, we can create any kind of reality with this avatar. We can make this avatar be doing anything and everything. We can pinpoint down to what they're wearing. Like I can go to eBay, and I can go in and choose shoes, shirts, everything. Bring them over to my AI, and we put it together, and we can put an outfit on them. I can find cars that I want to go inside the animations. I can make them do it, anything and everything. And I started looking at that, and I was like, okay, this is crazy because we can create this output that was created here. All right. That was the first aha moment. Then I started looking at it and I say, okay, this is that avatar for this person, but this is not reality. This is not the real person. And I started thinking about that. Okay. But then I guess the bigger picture was that I started really making a connection with the thought process that we are moldable, whatever you want to call it, where we can be adjusted. All right. We can change our form, our look. And I started thinking about life. And watch this right here, guys. I would take some of the animations and I would show them to people. And they would say, okay, that doesn't look like me. I'm not this big, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. All right. And some people would laugh and say it looks just like me. All right, but this was the crazy thing, and I did this myself. When I fed my stuff into my AI and told them to make one of me, they made this. It made this very cool looking little fat avatar, and I said, okay, I'm not short and I'm not fat. I got a little weight on me that I need to get off. I'm about two. I think right now I'm 232. My highest I was 252, but my lowest I was 214 about 6 months ago. All right, I say, but I don't look like that. All right, so I had my AI adjusted, and some of my family members did the same thing because I started making these originally with my family members, and that showed me something. All right, that showed me something. All right, now follow what I'm saying. Some people didn't want me making an avatar of them at all. They didn't want to see it. All right. And I started thinking about that. I said, okay, these people are scared. They're scared to see a distorted or a adjusted version of themselves. That's interesting. And then some I would make the avatars for, and they were just okay with it. Because one of the things I learned right off the bat was that I wasn't going to highlight all of a person's faults, not like a caricature. So if there was things that I thought they might be self-conscious about, I tried to edit that out the process. And now some things got to be true. Some things hold true. All right. But what was interesting, and again, like I said, I'm in this category. A lot of us wanted the AI to adjust how we looked. All right. If we were a little overweight, we just want to be a little overweight. We didn't want to be a lot overweight. Okay. If we were a little short, we wanted to be a little taller, a little lighter, we wanted to be a little bit darker. But it was interesting watching my different family members come back to me and ask me, could I change this? Could I do this? Could I do that? And it was interesting on the ones that just accepted it the way it was. Okay. And as I started working with paid customers, I started watching how they responded. And I started watching what we can do, you know, with with this moldable thing. All right. And I started seeing that there was no limit to what we can do, what we can create, what we can express. All right. And I'm getting this with something. All right, so I did that. And I started looking at what I was doing. I said, okay, these these Pixar style animations are cool. I can go out here and I can build a business around this. It's already a proven concept in the marketplace. I did it. I'm selling them. Cool. But I was telling myself, it's still something that I'm not doing because it doesn't feel like this is enough or like I'm in total alignment with the ideal. And so one of the things I had knew, that other people were working with what I call realism. They were working on making their animations look real. They was working on taking the pictures, and when it came to creating avatars, they were cloning, is what they called it, to where they tried to make a avatar that looked just like the person. And this got away from cartooning to more what I call realism. And I started doing some research on that video wise, seeing what people was doing with video, and I was also looking at what people were doing with photos and stuff. And so what I did was I told myself, I said, okay, look, I'm gonna spend the afternoon, I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna play around with this AI and see what I could do with real photos versus to what I was doing with animations. And guys, when I say that that one decision, that what's the word I would call that that feeling that I kept feeling that I wasn't hitting on everything yet, and I hadn't reached what I like to call the unlock yet. And when I sat down that afternoon and I started messing with the AI and I started working on, and I took and started working on myself. All right, because here I am, I'm into social media, I put out content, and one of the things I've always wanted to have more of was pictures. All right, I have no problem shooting video, man. I jump on video, bang out videos, but pictures, man. A lot of times in the pictures, you don't like how you look, you don't like what you're wearing, you don't like where you at. And I was like, man, if this is anything like what I've been doing over the last 4 weeks of manipulating um, this AI and this software to create this art and these outputs that looked cool, what could I do with realism? And it was crazy, man, because I jumped in and I immediately saw that this was a different level of the game. And I started looking at the things that I was attracted to with the cartoons and the Pixar style animations transferred over to this. So like if I like I went in and cloned myself. So I fed my AI so many pictures, trained them on me. So then I can go to my AI and I can say, okay, I want a picture of me doing this. And my AI would do it, right? My AI would do it. And so I said, okay. And I started noticing with my AI, I could change anything. I could change the hat, put whatever hat, whether clothes, my beard long or beard short. I could take 10 or 15 pounds off, 10 or 15 pounds on, change my shoes, change my background, change anything and everything. And when I looked at this, guys, again, I went through a whole nother eureka moment because it wasn't what I saw, which was very interesting. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. It wasn't what I saw. It's what a few family members saw and how they responded to that. All right. And it was crazy. Right. Okay. So, anyway, so I had AI make some pictures and uh, it made some pictures that looked just like me. And it made some pictures that looked like an improved version of me. So, for example, I have this beard, I'm rocking this beard. Okay. My beard is back in the growth stage. Okay, and it's not a short beard if you look at it. Okay, but it's not a super long beard. I haven't shaven this. And my head is usually fully bald, and I haven't shaven my head. So right now, I'm in what I like to call an unkept stage. Okay, I'm not ridiculous with it, but my beard hasn't been trimmed up. It's not shaved up, my face and everything, and I'm not totally bald. But my AI pictures that were created showed me in my best state. So when I did the pictures, it showed my beard looking good, right? Now, this is me right here at 215, 220, or not at 232. So it's an improved version of my body, but it's not a forced stretch for me to look at it because that's how I look this summer. That's how my head looks when I shave it. All right. And my beard could look like that with a little bit more growth and trimmed up. It's not far off. My beard looked like that similarly before I cut it down. All right. But this is where it gets interesting at. So my son had been trying to get me to get a motorcycle, man. And I was planning on doing it this year. I didn't do it. I chose to get me an e-bike instead that looks like a little motorcycle, right? And I'm planning on getting a bike. But I just didn't want to spend the time trying to do it because I had other things I was focused on this summer, and I want to take some time to look and see what kind I want before I buy it. So I'm planning on getting one, but it's gonna be next summer. All right, and but let me show you the power of AI. So I jumped in, and I said, okay. I asked my AI to create some photos of me riding a Harley Davidson. All right, so that's what you're looking at here. Me rocking the Harleys. Okay, beard looking good, hair shaved, got a little weight on the stomach. So that's a realistic picture of me, right? And when I started looking at these pictures, man, and I'm gonna keep it 100% with you guys. When I started looking at these pictures and I got in, and I started seeing that I could change anything and everything about these pictures, I was like, wow, this is crazy. All right. So you mean that I can actually sit at home? I don't have to go take no photos. I don't have to go buy the motorcycles, the cars. I don't have to travel to the places, but I can take software and I can create a manufactured reality inside of a photo that never happened, but it looked like it happened. And then I could take and I could put that photo out there on my social media, and I could just be as happy as I can be about sharing that photo and some content around it. All right. But this was the bigger unlock. I started noticing something. So like I told you guys, I go down this rabbit hole, man. So I sit down, I say, okay, well look, and I just started spending 8, 10 hours a day just learning the software, making different pictures and making mistakes, learning and unlocking different levels of skill sets with this software and just really testing what it would do and what it wouldn't do. And guys, as I made these pictures of me in these different situations, okay, as I done this and I started making these pictures in these different, like here's me kayaking. All right, that's me kayaking there. I don't see what this one is. This is me inside of a podcast studio. I'm getting ready to lay down some vocals in the studio. You guys follow what I'm saying? All right, here's me walking on the Great Wall of China. Never been to the Great Wall of China. Let me show you what happened. The crazy thing was, as I started making these pictures, I started getting pulled into the excitement level of being able to create a manufactured reality. And guess what? Even though I hadn't done a lot of it, it made me feel good. Right? It made me feel good, almost to the point like I had done it. And the other thing was that it started showing me how to relate to what I see out here in my life, in my world. That everything, first of all, is a snapshot, is a picture. All right. And we create our own realities. We create the picture. All right. That's what I'm seeing there. We create the picture. But the other thing was that the picture could be manipulated, it could be changed, it could be improved, it could be expanded on. Now, here's a deeper unlock that I got. I started really feeling like I did and I was who I was seeing in those pictures. Because in reality, I am. I am. I mean, there's no lie to it. That's me in the pictures. That's my body. That's this. But I never went and sat in that particular coffee. I'm not at that particular level of weight right now. Probably about 15 pounds off of that now. I didn't walk on the Great Wall of China. I definitely didn't walk at it at 210, 215, which is what it was. No, I'm at 235 ish right now. But it felt like I did. Mentally, to my mind, it felt like I did. Now, here's your breakthrough, guys. We said that first of all, we we can believe that we can see something, right? Then we have the power to create a picture, and we have the power to manipulate that picture. A lot of times we do this in our minds, right? We do this in our minds before we even look out in the physical realm. We have a picture that we hold that's about everything in our life, whether it's our weight, our finances, our relationship, the house we live in, our health, our physique, our mindset. We have a picture because the brain thinks in pictures, right? We have a picture in our mind. All right, but that picture is moldable. It can be manipulated by our mind also. So sometimes a lot of us are walking around with pictures that are not accurate or true pictures. They are pictures that we've created based off of beliefs, experiences, um, faulty ways of looking at things. All right. But this is the power of the subconscious mind. Okay. And I want you to understand this. You have two minds. You have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is your creator. All right. And just think of your conscious mind as almost like your facilitator. Okay. Now, your subconscious mind can't tell truth from error. If you want to get a good book, man, I got a book on that shelf called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. You want to get that. But your subconscious mind is the one that manifests. It's the one that connects you to the frequencies out there, to the realities, right? Your subconscious mind doesn't know truth from error. All right. It just knows what you program it. All right. What you feed it. Okay. Let that sink in. Now, as I was talking to Vic this morning, we were talking about this whole AI art, and I was telling him how I was having these different feelings about this art, and I was having these different aha moments. And he told me, he said, Orville, he said, you've unlocked another level. All right. And this is what you unlock. You know, we all hear about vision boards. All right. We all understand that things are pictures. You know, we are what we see. And with vision boards, what you usually do is you usually go out there and you'll find pictures of other people and other things. And you bring it back and you make this collage of things that you want. And guys, when I tell you that when you go out and you start when you start researching how people were able to manifest with vision boards and how powerful this is as a tool and a strategy to manifestation, it's crazy. It's crazy. But what Vic was telling me, and which I kind of got the idea because I started thinking and feeling this yesterday. But what he was telling me was when you can go in and do like what I'm doing with this AI art that's based around me, it's vision boards on steroids. Because now, if I want to drive a certain car with AI art, I can have AI create a photorealistic picture of me driving that car, standing by the car, me washing the car. Are you guys following what I'm saying? And when I look at that picture, there's a couple things that happen. One, I think it's the coolest thing in the world because I got to experience that. And I got to experience it, right? From looking at it. Didn't get to drive it, so I didn't get that level of experience, but I got to experience it from looking at it. But you know, as I started working with my AI clone and making all these different pictures of me in these different situations and stuff, I started feeling different about myself. And I started to feel more confident. I started feeling more accomplished. I started feeling good. And I didn't notice it at first, but then I think like on day two, I started noticing this. I said, man, this is weird. And so, you know, like anything else, man, it's something that makes you feel good. You do more of it. So I'm in, man. I'm in. I'm working. Okay, put me in the gym. Put me doing this. Put me doing that. And and then the other day, man, I got to this reality. I said, man, this is how you create, and this is how you unplug. Because I unplugged from the programming. I was starting to unplug from what I like to call the matrix, which is the programmable system out there that we all run on autopilot. That I was starting to shift how I saw myself because now I wasn't looking at somebody that I went over here and got a picture of them standing by a sports court and put it in front of me and say, I want to manifest this. I want to manifest. No, it was me that I was looking at. It was me standing in that car. It's me sitting in that car. Now, remember what I told you, the subconscious mind can't tell the difference from true or false. So, a lot of times when you're programming your subconscious mind, you are feeding it information and it's making it like you're done. And that's what this whole thing that we hear about visualization is. Visualization is where you sit back, you relax, and you just visualize. You just think about yourself doing something. And they've actually done tests with this. I read some really good books on NLP when I was younger, neuro linguistic programming, where Tony Robbins he studied in this area a lot. Where they took basketball players, they split the team up, and they say, okay, with this side of the team, you guys are going to go and you're going to practice your jump shot for so many hours a day. Wham, bang. Then they took the other part of the team. They said, okay, you guys will go sit in a chair. And what I want you to do is, I want you to sit back, close your eyes. I want you to visualize yourself, create a mental picture, mental motion picture of yourself doing the same thing that the guys are doing out there for real on the court, taking so many jump shots a day. And they did this for like a length of time. And then they came back and they tested the guys' improvement, both sides. And the team that really shot the jump shots, let's say they improved 50%. Okay. And we just, guys, look, the numbers are just the numbers, right? I'm just trying to give a point. And then they went over and they looked at the team that didn't shoot the jump shot, that visualized that they shot the jump shots. And let's say their improvement was like 35%. And the researchers, man, it was like, whoa. They were like, so the second team who didn't do the jump shots damn near got the same results as the ones that did the jump shots, and they never did it. That's the power of the mind, guys. So when you think about unlocking yourself from the matrix, I just gave you guys the game here. All right, you have to be able to believe and think that you can get unplugged from the matrix. Okay, then you have to come up with a strategy on how you're going to start removing yourself from the matrix. All right. And then you have to create a picture and hold the picture in your mind of what that reality looks like. And then you have to start taking action on it. And I'm going to show you guys something so crazy. And let me see if I can find it. Okay. And I didn't prep for this, guys. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. Okay. Let me see if I have it here. All right. That is one, but I don't know if that's the best representation. I'm trying to see if I have another one, which I don't think I do. All right. But anyway, let's just look at this one. All right, if you look at it, okay, this is me right here. I would say at 215 pounds, with some lifting going on. All right, with some working out going on, some lifting going on. See the little separation in the forearms and stuff. All right, that's me with some lifting um, going on. Okay, now this is the thing that I want you to grasp. The way you unplug from the matrix is all about what you believe, what you think, and what you do. All right, let that sink in. The way you unplug from the matrix is all about what you believe, what you think, what you do. Okay? That's the first step, and that's the most important step. What you believe, what you think, and what you do. All right? That's how you unplug from the matrix. Now, the last part is key. What you do. See, when I wanted to get out of that job, that 9 to 5 job, and I said, okay, no longer do I want to participate in this system that the world has built, this 9 to 5 system, this whole philosophy and way of looking at things and way of being when it comes to how I generate income or how I have the potential of generating income. I didn't want to. I didn't want to participate anymore. So for years, I was reading books on business, how to work for yourself, work from home, how to come up with ideas and concepts, how to build skills as far as skill stacking, so you could take those skills to the marketplace and hopefully generate income around it. So I started believing that I could do different, and I started creating me a strategy to do different. And then I started holding a picture of what that looked like. What would it look like for me to work from home? What would my office look like? What would my day look like? What were the things I'd be doing? How would I feel? What would my family? And I started doing this, guys. And guess what? Things worked out in accordance because I started believing, I started seeing this, and I started taking action, and I was able to unplug myself from the matrix. I was able to unplug myself from the system out there that 90 something percent of the people are still plugged into, which is that 9 to 5 system. All right, and I was able to come home and get free. Now, has it been easy? No, it's not been easy. It hasn't. And this is the reason why. It has nothing to do with opportunity and just what's out here. It still has something to do with this. Because one of the biggest aha moments that I got since I've been home is that, and it made me, man, it made me really, really, really get upset with myself there for a minute, is that our current life is a direct sum total of our beliefs, our habits, and our actions up until this point. My biggest aha moment for escaping the matrix was that I realized we are co-creators of the matrix. All right. And we are co-responsible for us staying in the matrix because we didn't create the simulation. We didn't create the whole matrix, but we created our version of it and we reinforce it with the way we think, what we believe, and what we do. And the fastest way to unplug from that matrix is to figure out that you figure out those three are key components to it being a reality. And if we want to alter that reality, we want to be able to escape it and not depend on it and not be plugged into that, not participate in that, then we're going to have to change what we believe, or what we see, and what we do. We have to change that picture. We have to change that definition. All right. And that's one of the biggest things I saw with manipulating these photos was that I was a co-creator. I didn't create the photos by myself, man. I went in and told Vic, my AI, I said, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to look like. Can you create me a prompt to help me do this? And then I would take that prompt and I would feed it into another AI and I would get output. I would get a picture. Then I would go back to Vic and say, okay, well, look, can we change this? Or I would just directly change it inside the AI and make my adjustments to it, output it a picture, right? And then I would look at that picture and I would say, wow, that's good. I like that. And that picture would make me feel a certain way about myself. And since I wasn't creating pictures that made me look bad or feel bad, this whole experience has taken another level with me because I've seen that, okay, if I only create pictures that inspire me, if I create pictures that stretch me a little bit, not too far where it's not relatable, but it stretches me, then that's a good thing. And then the other thing was that I understand that my reality is just like this picture. The matrix is just like this picture. Somebody else created a picture. That's the matrix, right? And they gave it to me. All right. 90% of the people look at the picture and say, okay, I accept what the picture is, and I'm never going to try to change it. If you want me to have a different picture, you bring me a different picture. That's what we call programming, guys. Programming. Now, the thing that I figured out, and I'm sharing with you guys right now, is there is a way to remove yourself from the matrix. Change what you think, change what you believe, change what you do, and then get out of there. All right. And then to understand that you are a co creator. So if you look around at your life, everything in your life you've manifested, you did it. All right. I'm sorry to say you did it, you attracted it. So with that stated, you get to sit down just like I can get to sit down with my AI and I could change what the picture like. I don't like that car, man. Give me that car. I don't like how my body. Let me do this. I don't like how that looks. Let me change this. I don't like what that looks like. Let me change this. All right. That part of it is equivalent on thinking and believing. Does that make sense? Thinking and believing. All right. And then you go execute. You go do the thing, right? You take that picture and you turn it into strategy. All right. If I want to be 15 or 20 pounds, lighter, and I want to be more toned. It's not complicated. What I got to do is I got to change how I'm eating. And then where I'm not working out, let me get in this gym 4 or 5 times a week and go in and just do a simple full body workout. Wham, wham, bang some things out. Now, this is the key. And let me do it over time. And guess what, guys? Let me let me manipulate that picture. All right, let me look different in that picture right now. And this is where that whole vision board thing comes from. This is what I figured out, and guys, it was a game changer for me. So now I take that picture of me working out. All right, I have AI create a picture of me working out, but I don't look like I look now. I'm 235, 232, 335. All right, I'm gonna have it make the picture of me 215 in the gym working out. My face gonna look a little different. My beard gonna look a little different. My body's gonna look a little different. But it's me. People can totally tell it's me. It looks just like me. All right, and it's not too crazy. I'm not walking around looking like a bodybuilder. I'm just a little bit better than what I am in reality. Now, when I want to post something on Facebook and I want to share something, I put that picture up. All right, if I'm talking about adversity, discipline, or something like that, I put that picture up. All right, first of all, it projects what I want projected to the world, which I'm gonna receive back. What you put out, you receive back. But then this is how you unplug, guys. This is how you unplug. Now that picture makes me feel a certain way. And now I'm at the gym. I'm at the gym and I'm doing the work. I'm lifting. All right, I'm coming home, I'm looking at the plate differently. And every day I jump on social media, I am looking at the future version of myself. And I'm linking the two together. I'm linking them two together by doing what I'm doing. All right. If it's me trying to unplug from the job, what do you do? All right. Let me go read about businesses. Let me go read about this. Okay. Let me do this right here. Let me go out here and create a website, a one-page website. Get me a domain name. Get me a logo made. Let me order just a sample of the product. What you're doing is you are creating a different picture. You're manipulating the picture, right? And by doing so, guys, you get on a different timeline. You get on a different plane in a sense. I believe in that whole belief system of parallel realities. I believe all of us are living, we have all these different realities that are going on at the same time. I don't believe there's one reality. And I believe that you can jump lines, right? And I believe that when you start taking action that's inconsistent with your current programming and your current reality, but actions and beliefs that are consistent with a different, I believe we jump, or we move off of this one to this one here, and we can go back and forth based off of how we do and what we think. But guys, to unplug from that matrix, you gotta think different, believe different, act different, and understand that thinking and believing is creating that picture like we've been talking about. You're on that software. Your mind is like AI. You're on that software creating that picture. All right. Then once you get the picture you want, hold it. Figure out a way to put it in front of you. In my case, I create AI art that looks just like me, and I put it out there. Remember, guys, I showed you that's me in the barbershop, guys, getting a haircut. I've never been in that barbershop. Never went. I ain't got a haircut in almost 20 something years. I cut my own hair. But you couldn't tell it because it looks like I'm right in that barbershop, guys. That's me riding that hog, that Harley. Never rode a Harley in my life. I create a picture, and then I put that picture up. That's my vision board on steroids. Now I'm not looking at some other Joe Blow riding a Harley and saying that one day I want to ride a Harley. I went out there and gave my subconscious mind something to go ahead and to attract based off of, because my subconscious mind can't tell the difference between reality and non-reality. So as I look at this picture, the more I look at it, my subconscious mind says, "Yeah, Harvey ride Harleys. He ride black Harleys that look like this." And guess what? Guess what I attract into my life? That Harley. Me riding that Harley, right? Very, very powerful. So hopefully you guys got something from this, man. Hopefully you got something from this. And guys, I'm having fun with creating these pictures and putting them out there, and then looking at how I respond and feel to that, and then sitting back and starting to make strategies to make that, to bring that into reality. All right, to close that gap is what we call it. Okay, very, very powerful, guys. That's how you unplug from the matrix. That's how you get free, man. That's how you get free of that crazy boss, them crazy coworkers. That's how you be able to take your financial future out of somebody else's hands and put it in your own hands because you're saying, okay, look, I'm not fit to go off of this programming that's out here. I'm fit to unplug myself from the matrix. I'm fit to become self-sufficient. All right. And you get out and do you. And remember, guys, knowledge is power, right? But you just can't have knowledge. You got to have action. So get out there, plug into AI, plug into learning, plug into communities out there where you're going to get in proximity around people who believe the things you believe. And then get out there, guys, and start changing your reality. You unplug from the matrix by thinking different, believing different, and then doing something different. Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. I'll catch you guys on next video. God bless.